Hello and welcome to the dungeons. Dayman here. Today we're talking about everything I wish I knew when I first started playing this game. First things first. What you have to understand is that this is a hack and slash game that allows you to have a very satisfying grind through the various loot and leveling options for your character. But those are not clearly spelled out for you. So if you're like me and want to know that you're making the best decisions for your character, well, you'll need to do some research. But don't worry, I've already done that research for you. One of the first things I wish I knew was how to use the fabricator and how to really unlock its potential. You see, you have all these potions, but when you first start playing the game, you only have 2. So how do you get more potions? And look at our fabricator. How do I know what gear to make and what's worth making? Well, some of that information can be revealed to us right here in the Perk Info tab. This allows us to understand what each of the various perks on our weapons do. And if you grab your weapon and you click down on your joystick that is holding a weapon, it will show you the damage of your weapons and the various perks and elements on them. But here we see, what is this, 5 to 35%? Is that randomized? Is that locked in on fabrication? Well, the way that works, it's based off of loot tier. And as you progress in levels, your loot tier will increase. And based off of your loot tier, that percentage will increase by 5%. So at loot tier 1, you only get the 5%. Loot tier 2, 10, all the way up to loot tier 7 at 35% additional damage. That does not factor in to the damage that you see. So this 77 fire damage attack power is actually not telling me the full picture. I would need to do the math as to what the 35% additional damage for my weapon would be. Now, if we look here at my gear, you're going to see that I have some very interesting looking weapons. Don't worry, I'll explain why I have 4 weapon slots. When you start the game, you might only have 3. Now, a green weapon, a blue weapon, and a red or orangish weapon that looks like molten fire are what is indicative of the various elements on a weapon. Fire deals radial explosions and times 2 damage. Ice allows you to have a chance to freeze an enemy, and once an enemy is frozen, you can instantly destroy them. Shields can still produce elemental effects, and poison drops an enemy over their hips, stopping them from moving and attacking for 10 seconds, during which they take 25% of their, or at least a small portion of damage. Now, these red weapons that you see, you can see them tiered from no color to common, unique, and legendary. But the highest tier you can acquire is a mythical, and you get those when you reach your maximum level at level 60. See, I am actually level 283, but my prestige level is at level 43. Once you reach level 60, you can acquire mythical weapons. And you're going to notice my shield does not tell me what my element types are. Those can only be seen by the coloration once fabricated, but that is not true for the rest of your weapons. As you'll see in the fabricator, I will be able to be producing weapons based off a certain number of gold, and they will tell me if it's fire is my favorite element, ice, or poison, and it gives you a preview of the weapon's model. Now, how do you get these potions? We talked about this. How does one acquire more potions? Here at the mission selector, which can be found up the stairs from our outpost, is where we can see 4 different colored missions. Red missions are called dungeon raids, where you can acquire lots of loot and go through various dungeon crawling rooms and fighting enemies. You can select the tier of difficulty you want to do any of these missions at. It'll recommend a tier based off of your level, and by running missions more difficult than it recommends, you can increase the loot tier. Thus, the drops of more unique weapons and the percentage chance of their abilities to be activated or be damage modified. Now, here we have a green mission. These green missions are how we acquire potion. Once you go into a green mission, you will speak to the Soul Keeper. Now, whether or not you're a high level or a low level, it's typically recommended by the meta to run a Souls mission at Tier 1. This is also true for Exo missions, but we'll talk about those later. At difficulty Tier 1, you'll get the same number of souls, and souls collected is how you produce potions. Down here, we will meet with the Soul Keeper. Here at the Soul Keeper, you will see that he has various potions around his hip. They are of the model of potions, but of a different color. He will give you a staff, and you will use that staff, not this one, but it'll shoot a green energy beam to a certain radius, and that'll mark enemies with a green particle effect. Once they are marked with a green particle effect, you can defeat them and they will drop a glowing green soul, but do not collect that soul just yet. Leave the souls on the floor until the very end of the round, because if you collect the minimum number of souls, you will only get the minimum number of souls. And the more souls you collect, the more potions you will eventually be able to unlock. We're back here at the fabricator to look at the potions. Now, each of these potions will be locked out for you, but it'll tell you the number of souls you need to be able to produce it. And down here will be a running total of the number of souls that you have. We have large health potions that recover 100% health, 25% health from small potions. Now, one thing to note about potions, you can drop them here in your pouch, and if you wish to share a potion, then you must not tip it to its side. Instead, you must drop it straight down. If you turn a potion to its side, you will be the only one to benefit from its effects once it pours out. You don't need to pour it over your head or drink it. Simply by opening it and holding it in your hand to the side will be sufficient for consuming it. You have opened a potion that you don't want to consume. This yellow potion is a haste potion which allows you to move at faster speeds. But let's say I accidentally open it. Instead, I can simply bring it back into my pouch, and then I will be able to use it again. Now, the game recommends that you take a potion and you pull off its cap. But you can also simply deploy the top trigger that's holding the potion, and it'll crack open. Bombs deal a small amount of damage in an area, but this is great because it knocks enemies to the floor. When dealing with bombs, you might accidentally miss an enemy, but you can recall and it will reset the fuse. As long as you're holding a bomb, it will not explode. I like to pair my bomb potions with ice potions. Ice potions, when paired with bomb potions, have a very powerful effect. We're down here in the training grounds, and if you are the host of a dungeon, you can spawn in these weak little training dummies. Now, with 2 potions in hand, I'm going to open them both by deploying my top triggers and drop them. I can freeze an enemy in place and then instantly destroy a wave, a very powerful tactic. Back here at the fabricator, this, with the sort of phoenix-looking emblem at the top, is what is known as a resurrection potion. This allows you to resurrect allies who have gone down. Don't worry, you can never drink a resurrection potion even if you turn it to its side. Well, the way in which you do it is by throwing it to the floor once opened. However, there is a hidden feature with our resurrection potion. I have us now in third person so that you can see. If you hold a potion high above your head and keep it open, if you're not the only person up, meaning that there is at least 2 other people up, you can run through a dungeon, and if you accidentally get downed while trying to resurrect allies, you can fall to the floor and drop that potion and actually resurrect yourself. But remember, that will not work if you are the last person up, as you will all fail the mission when the game reads that you have perished. Here we have what is known as a quad potion. A quad damage potion obviously multiplies the damage of your weapons by 4 times. These are potions that you always want to drop to the floor. And while you are standing in the pool, you will continuously re-up your quad damage. And if you look, I'll once again demonstrate. You can see a red bar that is slowly ticking down. Well, that lets me know how long I have for the effects of a potion. By dropping a potion or standing in it, I continuously can re-up the amount of time I have on a potion. Now, the most powerful potion in the game is considered to be the invisibility potion. Quite rare to find, but by running Souls missions, the chests there will have chances to drop this powerful potion. Very similarly, you can open it and drink it by pouring it out or dropping it to the floor to share. During this time, enemies will not be able to see you, but mind this. An enemy who you hit will know that you've hit them. And they will, of course, if I hit this guy now, he'll simply, now, see, if I hit him now, he will be destroyed, but he will eventually thaw out in 10 seconds. And they will attack at the last place that they were hit. Okay, even a potion was able to destroy him. But enemies will attack you, or at least attack the last known place that they were hit from. So if you're invisible, that doesn't mean you're invincible. That means you need to run around and stay active in that fight. That covers the majority of our potions. However, let's say you have some potions at the end of a mission. You can come over to your bookshelf here, and these glowing rings, very similar to your item pouch, can hold onto potions for you. And when you reload the game, you will be able to re-equip those potions. And right next to our storage, you will see that we have an exo point window. This is how you customize your character. I currently have 7 points to spend on perks for my mind, my chest, my arms, and my legs. Those can be equipped within your exo suit on your character once you've acquired them. But you can only have 1 exo per slot. So how do we get exo points? Back here at our table, you can see that I've selected this mission. By holding it down once again, I can deselect that mission. And that allows me to select a new mission. Just like our Souls mission, I'm only ever going to run this at Tier 1, even if I am at the highest level I can be. Which there is currently no max level. You can every time you reach level 60, you can prestige, where it's basically like a new game plus, where you get to re-level your character once you acquire a mythic weapon. Exo missions will have you fighting again, looking through 4 various rooms to find blue glowing crystals that will need to be returned to a central pyramid. After which, you will need to find glowing blue triangles, where it allows you to enter the ethereal plane and damage the shirtless wizards, otherwise known as the Guardians, that will attempt to drain the crystals' energy from the pyramid. I have a Crystal Run mission, and it's worth looking at that as well as some of the other content creators. However, a bonus tip to make you do as well as you possibly can is using haste potions so that you can quickly run to the glowing blue crystals that allow you to actually damage the red ethereal enemies, which are invincible for as long as you have not deployed the glowing blue triangles that sit on the floor. That doesn't make a lot of sense until you watch the videos, but you'll quickly catch on with that knowledge in mind. Every time you run an exo mission, you will get 3 exo points. But if you fail a mission, you will get an exo point for each crystal that was drained by the pyramid. So, here in your mind, you will be able to acquire various exos. But mind you, that these will level up. They'll unlock as you level up, so you will not have access to all of these potions. But thankfully, on your screen, you will be able to see the level that they unlock at. And check out other parts of my Zero to Hero series in order to determine what the best order to unlock them is. You'll see here that I have no arms perks available. That's because I unlocked them all already. So let's look here. What might be an exo point I might desire? Let's see. Last stand. Okay. Increasing last stand. What is last stand? I will store the perk as opposed to equip it. Last stand is only something that is available when you're doing a solo mission. That means it's like a second life because you have no allies to revive you. You will be able to go into a last stand where you are slowed down and you can get revived by destroying an enemy or consuming a health potion. And these exos allow you to stay in that last stand for a longer duration, assuming that you died by a hazard, like a bomb barrel, and there are no enemies or potions around. Alright. Don't worry about your cosmetics. You'll be able to unlock these through your various chests. And with that note in mind, we are going to the armory. Heading through this threshold, downstairs to the left, you will find the vendors, the merchant, and the armorer. The armorer is the only merchant I recommend purchasing from at lower levels. He will sell you loot based off of your loot tier. However, even at level 1, you will be able to acquire a single legendary weapon. I have more legendary weapons because of my high level. You can preview the damage and elements and perks present on your weapons. Save your money and do not purchase things from the merchant because she sells cosmetics. I've already unlocked all cosmetics, so the only thing I can purchase from her are these bones and power gems. What are bones and power gems used for? Well, we just so happen to have a good girl in our dungeons. She's the outpost queen, named Nova. Don't tell anyone, but she's a werewolf. I'm kidding. That's my own headcanon. You can use these bones to help guide her through the outpost. Not only that, she will be able to follow you. If the bone hits the ground, she'll run just a little bit faster. So if you want to lure her a bit faster along. Following this tunnel, you can take her to the outpost and to the training grounds. Here, she'll be able to fight all of these monsters. Unfortunately, she cannot yet join us in the dungeons. Good girl, Nova. So we mentioned power gems. What are power gems used for? Well, let's go back to our gear. Here are loadouts. You can go to your back slot, and your back slot will allow you to equip various types of weapons. Here I have a fireball staff. My fireball staff is a legendary staff, so it shoots purple flames. Though, yours will shoot red and will look slightly different. Once I have drained a staff of its power, I can then use a power gem simply by inserting it into its slot. Now, I did mention about how it is I can have 4 weapons, one for each shoulder slot. I drained this so that I can demonstrate something to you. That's because I have an exosuit that allows me to have, on my legs, the Juggernaut. This allows you to unlock a shield-only holster on one of your shoulders. Don't worry, you'll be able to get a little bit faster every time you level it up. So, here. My staff is drained of power. Now, if you've touched a crystal, so if you have a crystal and you gather them in an area while you are fighting, you can drop it to the floor and scoop it off of the ground. A little nice bonus tip for you there, for all you would-be casters. Now, we've talked about our various mission types with the exception of one, and that is our sandbox arena. This allows you to load up various enemy types and at various levels and various biomes. And that'll help you learn how to fight much better than the training grounds. This is a nice place to kill some time and play with Nova, but the sandbox is where you can really learn how to fight the various enemy types. It is also a place where you can unlock PvP. You and other players will be able to fight one another in various fun arenas. Arena types, such as low gravity or various weapons, if not just using your own weapons. But mind you, just because someone's a higher level and has more powerful weapons, don't worry. Everyone's weapon damage is set to the same, so to keep it a fair fight. So, I've mentioned the term biomes. Let's look down here. Selecting your 4 realms. How do you know what realms to select? Well, the Underworld biome is considered by some to be the most beginner-friendly biome, but that might not necessarily be true, as you will encounter explosive enemies known as lost souls, as well as, ice-type enemies. But here's a thing to note. All enemy types can be found in the Underworld biome, where here in the sandstorm biome, you find yourself in a more opaque looking environment. The textures are far more dithered, and you can't see very far ahead of you, and it's full of insect-type enemies, sometimes referred to as critter-type enemies. And one of the most difficult bosses in the game, known as the large wasp, I call it the Defiler, because you should see what it does to me. It just keeps stabbing me over and over again. That is because this biome is full of insects, and one of the most powerful critter-type enemies, known as the tiny wasp. It, like the lost soul, can explode, making it a very difficult biome for beginners. The Vile Halls, if you're going to select a biome beyond the Underworld as a beginner, it can be considered beginner-friendly, as you will mostly be encountering poison-type enemies. Poison-type enemies can be denoted by their green coloration. And don't worry, if you're poisoned, using practically any potion will allow you to remove the poison condition, which causes you to move just a little bit slower. Another note for the Vile Halls biome is that if you are in a green pool that looks radioactive. Now, not just green water. You can step in green water, but a green, radioactive, bright-looking water can cause you to harm. So instead of walking through it, jumping up and down will help you to reduce the amount of damage that you receive while walking through it. That is also true for walking through lava in the Lava Forge. Lava Forge is here on the far end because it's considered to be the most difficult biome. The most difficult biome is because it's full of bomb barrels, explosive enemies, which are fire-type enemies, exploding spiders, and suicide bombing imps. Imps are one of the more challenging enemy types that are present in all biomes, mind you, but most prevalent in the Underworld and Lava Forge, as they run up and fight with various tactics, even being able to dodge roll. They can do a barrel roll. So, the Lava Forge is for experienced adventurers, but don't worry, you can actually manage this. You can turn the Lava Forge into the easiest biome with one quick trick. Coming to your exo mission, exo points, after getting various exo points from your exo missions, how many times can I say exo? On your chest, you will be able to unlock the Blast perk. The Blast perk allows you to take reduced damage from explosions. So, by unlocking that Blast perk, you can make easy work of the Lava Forge realm. As you might have seen, you can select a mission or hover over a map in order to see what the map looks like. Now, what are these crazy hazards that you see sitting over this dungeon raid? These are bonus challenges that can grant you bonus experience and bonus XP. Now, you're going to get that bonus whether you're doing at Tier 1 or Tier 7. You'll get the same amount of experience. So don't worry. You can take these more challenging missions at lower levels and still be able to level up very quickly. The more hazards, the more bonuses you will receive. 120 seems to be the greatest bonus that one can receive, as these are very challenging. You see there, it says Fireball Staffs only. And you get 40% more boss battles. That means instead of just in the final room, you're going to have to fight boss battles in multiple rooms. And those boss battles can sometimes be harder than the end boss battles themselves. Now, here you're going to see no potions. That means potions are less effective and you won't even be able to bring them in. But don't worry, if the potions despawn from your pouch, they will be present on your shelf. Obi-Wan Pierogi, another content creator, goes over what each of these hazards do. So if you're curious about what they do, if you can't immediately tell by looking or reading them, he will be able to provide great context for you. Now let's say that none of these missions interest you. The dungeons are too small, there's no good hazards. Well, if you look right down here, you're going to see that the dungeons will update every 30 minutes or so. Meaning, all you have to do is wait or run a mission, and by the time you come back, there'll be more missions to run. Let's say you found a dungeon that you absolutely love. It had a beautiful room, or it had a really fun fight. Maybe it was just that you liked that you could run it very quickly. You can come over to this console and save dungeons. Currently, you can save up to 10 slots, and you'll be able to revisit those dungeons if you are a host. So, how is it that you can be a host for a dungeon? Well, you can load up at the start menu to be a host, or the host themselves, you go over here to Game, turn on Team Options, and the host can rehost or kick you. So you see this kick. Let's say that there is an annoying kid in a dungeon with you. You can request that they get kicked. Now, this voice icon allows you to mute people in case their volume or language or something isn't quite to your liking. Back to our game options. Here are some very important things you need to do for your gaming experience. You need to go to your controls and enable the auto run feature. Here you can also change from teleport or blink. The difference between blink and teleport is minimal. Teleport allows you to instantaneously move through a dungeon, where blink will give you a kind of fade in and fade out feature. You can also jump back and strafe side to side now. Most people prefer continuous motion, in which case I would recommend turning on auto run. Make sure that your head features and turn rate are at your ideal, but you can also come here to other. Turn on boss health bars. Those will allow you to see the health of bosses. You can also if you ever find it very difficult to throw a weapon and you try to recall that weapon, but instead you end up grabbing some gold or something off the floor, you can turn on flick wrist to grab. Meaning, once an item is on the floor and I drop a weapon, I can grab my weapon and not the item. Instead, I have to pull my wrist in to acquire an item off the floor. I also really enjoy weapon grip switching. It allows you to do cool tricks like turning your daggers and your spears around in your hand, but only your daggers and spears. I do it on double trigger so it doesn't accidentally trigger. And right here, you see experimental live. This is what's allowing me to record this video right now. So if you ever wanted to make content for yourself, this is what you would click on. You'd click it, it would pop out of this pause screen and allow you to access it. JJ Bonta has an amazing video discussing how to use this live tablet, so I'll leave it to them. So, now that we're here, it's important to look at this red gate. Let's say you're in a dungeon, and for some reason you're not on comms or someone isn't telling you what a dungeon's all about. If you click that, it'll tell you everything you need to know about the dungeon that you're in. Right now we're in a private room for recording purposes, but if I was in a tier 7 dungeon with multiple hazards, and I don't know what those hazards are, I can open this up and it'll tell me everything I need to know. I also highly recommend that you turn on arachnophobia, not because you have it, and if you do, that's great. I'm sorry if you do, rather, but this feature will help you with that. However, this feature also makes the hitbox of a spider more apparent. Rather than having to guess what their hitbox is, their new model that replaces them will allow you to damage them far easier. I also recommend turning down the FX volume because there are some very screeching and loud enemies that can make it very hard to communicate in the dungeon. So turn that down and it'll save you a lot of issues. But if ever you enter a dungeon and you're featuring a glitch where you cannot hear anyone, you have to hit the repair voice chat. And that should allow you to enter into communication with your party once again. We'll briefly discuss some elements that were a bit tricky for me when I was learning how to customize my character. You see that I have an eye patch and a few other features on my character. I won't be able to take off that eye patch unless I have the no eyes cosmetic, and I can't even access that from my eyes feature or from anywhere on my head. Instead, I have to go into Flare. In Flare, this is where you can customize what your character does at the end of a fight when you go to the success screen, and you'll unlock these through your chests as well. You can find capes. There's only 2 free capes. You'll have to purchase the rest of the capes from the DLC, as you'll see. But here at the eyewear, you have to find the no face wear in order to actually remove eyewear from your character. The rest of these, however, are DLCs that you can purchase at any time. But if you haven't unlocked no face wear, they will be stuck on your face. So remember that. I like to be a little pirate. With that, you've learned a lot of things I wish I knew about this game. But we're not done yet. There's one very important note that if you haven't learned, it'll save your life. I was just being dramatic, but I do want to show you how to climb a chain in the fastest way possible. By grabbing a chain and holding down the A button and looking up or looking down, you will be able to move without having to climb. Not only that, you can use the opposite hand to create a teleporting foot icon, which will allow you to teleport within an appropriate range, even off of a ledge. Alrighty. I hope you enjoy Dungeons of Eternity as much as me. I look forward to seeing you in the dungeons. Remember, disinfect your face mask and wash your face, baby.